If in most Western or Asian countries, death is often covered by a dark black color, by a silence, haunting, and tears of painful parting, then there is a place on this earth daring to do completely the opposite. In Mexico, when the heart stops beating, that is not the end, but is the beginning for a most radiant party. In the year, with dazzling orange color and mariachi music sounding to the sky, have you ever wondered why they dare to laugh at the face of death? Are they crazy? Or are we exactly the ones misunderstanding the true meaning of death? Welcome you to Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, an intangible cultural heritage recognized by UNESCO in 2008, where the boundary between life and death becomes fragile and beautiful more than ever. According to statistics from the Mexico Ministry of Tourism, every year millions of tourists flock here just to witness the way indigenous people transform the pain of loss into spiritual strength, a living philosophy, optimistic to the point, making the whole world bow in admiration and reflect again on the way they are living. In the special journey of discovery today, we will not travel superficially, but will together dissect deep down to the very end of this spiritual meaning level. First, we will meet La Catrina, the bony lady, to understand why, before death, all classes rich and poor become absolutely equal. Next, we will step across the Marigold flower bridge to come to Ofrenda, where altars are not used to worship fear, but to nurture memory. And finally, most importantly, we will discover the philosophy about 3 deaths of Mexican people to understand that forgetting is exactly the death most painful of a human life. This will be a trip that can completely change your outlook on life. If you are ready to open your heart to receive these perspectives, fresh and deep, press the like button and subscribe to the channel right now to Together with US. Start the soul healing journey. And do not forget to turn on notifications to not miss the wonderful stories next. Part 1. La Catrina. The absolute equality before death. When mentioning symbols of death, we often imagine scary images like the Grim Reaper or gloomy ghosts in Western horror films. But in Mexico, the Queen of the Afterlife carries a completely different appearance. That is La Catrina, a female skeleton with a proud stance, wearing splendid ball gowns in French aristocratic style, and always wearing a wide-brimmed hat decorated with the most luxurious feathers. But behind the flashy look and that sly smile is a deep satirical story about human society that not everyone understands thoroughly. This figure originally was created by the talented cartoonist José Guadalupe Posada in the early 20th century, with the original name La Calavera Garbancera, aiming to allude to Mexican indigenous women at that time, because of denying their own roots, but trying to imitate the luxurious lifestyle of Europeans. The message that Posada wanted to convey through this zinc etching, stronger than any moral teaching, that no matter how much you try to paint the outside with expensive makeup or wear luxury branded outfits, then the essence inside all of US is also just white bones, identical to each other. Later, exactly the great painter, Diego Rivera, husband of female painter, Frida Kahlo, completed this figure in the famous mural, Dream of a Sunday Afternoon, in Alameda Park, and officially gave her the name La Catrina, that the whole world knows today. The appearance of La Catrina in Mexican culture is not to scare children, or so fear, but as to remind those who are living a cruel but fair truth. Death is the greatest leveler of humanity. Nobel Prize-winning writer Octavio Paz once wrote in the classic work, The Labyrinth of Solitude, an observation making readers shudder. The Mexican is familiar with death, jokes about it, caresses it, sleeps with it, and considers it as a most favorite toy. Why do they do so? Because they understand that fearing death is a useless act. Like the fact we try to prevent the sun from setting in every late afternoon, instead of running away from an inevitable destiny. They choose the way to face it with humor and a proud attitude, turning fear into joy, turning parting into an opportunity to reunite. In modern society today, where humans rush into the crazy money-earning race and judge each other by the car they drive or the house they live in, the image of La Catrina becomes even more valuable than ever. She stands there with an eternal grinning smile, as if wanting to whisper into the ears of those greedy for power that, look at me. Finally you will also become like this. Then why have to live a life full of calculation and hatred? Before death, a luxury bank card, or noble social status, also becomes meaningless, because no one can use money to bribe death, and no one can bring along any material asset when stepping through the door of the afterlife. Do you agree with the Mexican viewpoint that death is the greater enforcer of justice? Or do you believe that even in death, the rich still have separate privileges that the poor cannot have? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below for us to discuss together. Death does not distinguish class under the flashy layer of flesh or the torn shirt. We are all skeletons, waiting for the day to be liberated. Part 2. The Orange Bridge and the Altars of Living Memories. If the figure of La Catrina represents the acceptance of death proudly, then the radiant orange petals are exactly the symbol for warm love, guiding souls back home. In the early days of November, the whole country, Mexico, seems to be dyed by dazzling yellow-orange color of the xempaxuchitl flower, or known to the world by the rustic name Marigold. In ancient beliefs of the Aztecs, this flower was seen as a sacred gift from the sun god Tonatiuh, given to humans to warm up cold souls. In the underworld, they believe that the characteristic intense fragrance and radiant colors of xempaxuchitl have the ability to wake up sleeping souls, helping them see the way and not get lost in the long journey from the afterlife. Returning to visit family, Mexicans do not scatter flowers randomly, but they meticulously arrange each petal into small paths, leading from the cemetery gate crossing ancient, paved streets, going through the threshold, and stopping right at the foot of the ancestral altar in every house. And when souls step across that flower bridge to enter the house, the thing welcoming them is not fear or gloomy funeral atmosphere, but as an ofrenda, meaning an altar full of food and most joyful memories on earth, completely different from solemn and distant altars in many other cultures. The ofrenda of Mexicans truly is a sumptuous feast, prepared with all hospitality for precious guests, away for a long time, just returning. On that table, covered with pure white lace cloth, each item carries a deep spiritual meaning, irreplaceable. We will see sweet pan de muerto bread, baked golden brown, sprinkled with white sugar, mimicking the shape of crossed bones, symbolizing the reincarnation circle of life. Beside that are glasses of pure water for souls to relieve thirst after the hard, long journey, crossing 9 levels of Mictlan hell, and cannot lack pure salt to purify the soul, along with copal incense fragrance spreading in the space to drive away evil thoughts. But the thing making anyone's heart vibrate when standing before an ofrenda is exactly the portrait photos of the deceased, placed at the most solemn position. Those are not gloomy black and white photos taken at the end of life, but often are the most radiant moments, happiest when they were alive. Mexicans believe that just by seeing the smile of relatives on the altar, the pain of loss will be soothed and replaced by gratitude for having had each other in this life. They place there items that the dead loved when alive: a bottle of tequila for the father, who liked drinking; a pack of cigarettes for the grandfather, or colorful wooden toys for little angels, unfortunately passing away early. If you feel these life philosophies are touching your heart, and you want to spread this message of family love to more people, please spend a second to press the share button for this video to friends you treasure most. Your support is exactly the greatest motivation for the channel to continue the journey seeking deep cultural values like this. Preparing an ofrenda is not a mandatory religious ritual, but as an act of pure love, a way for the living to say to the dead that, although yin and yang are separated, but in this heart, you never left. Exactly the meticulous care for each plate of food, each shimmering candle on the altar, has helped Mexicans transform pain into joy, turn the death anniversary into reunion day, and turn death into a wonderful excuse for the family to gather together. According to you, organizing a joyful feast to welcome the souls of the deceased is an optimistic act worth learning, or does it somewhat lack the necessary solemnity towards the departed? The altar is not a place for the living to beg for blessings, but is a warm stopover for wandering souls to know that they still have a place to return to. Part 3: 3 Deaths and the Fear of Eternal Oblivion. If in the previous part we talked about the way Mexican people receive death with joy, then in this part we will touch the very end of the deepest fear In human consciousness, Mexican people have a concept, extremely unique, and soaked in life philosophy that a human when coming to this world is born only once, but has to go through up to 3 different deaths before truly vanishing into nothingness. The first death is the biological event that any creature must go through, occurring at the moment the heart stops beating, the last breath is released, and eyes close permanently to the sunlight. This is the death that medicine recognizes as the physical boundary dividing life and death. But to people of the land of cacti, this is just the beginning of a new journey, not yet the complete end. The second death carries social and ritual nature, taking place when the human body is lowered into the grave, into the cold ground, or when fire destroys the body, returning to dust. That is the time relatives and friends see the face of the deceased for the last time. Lamenting cries ring out, parting with a physical form, no longer existing on this earth anymore. But the third death, and also the death most painful, most terrible, that no soul wants to face, is exactly when there is no longer anyone on this world still remembers your name anymore. When the last photo on the altar is removed, when stories about your life are no longer repeated in family meals, and when the memory about your existence is completely erased from the minds of those who are living. That is exactly the true death, is the eternal disappearance into the darkness of oblivion, where the soul has no place to shelter, and becomes wandering ghosts without identity. Exactly because of this fear about the third death, that the festival, Dia de los Muertos, becomes more important than ever in the spiritual life of Mexican people. They believe that as long as images of ancestors are still placed solemnly on the Ofrenda altar, as long as children still hear stories about their great-grandparents, then as long as that, the soul is still immortal and continues accompanying descendants. The famous animated film Coco of Pixar excellently portrayed this philosophy. The vibrant, colorful spirit world only exists thanks to memories of the living world. And when memory fades, the soul will also vanish, like golden dust in the wind. This philosophy forces each of us to question the way we are living today, whether we are living a life vibrant and meaningful enough to be remembered, or we are just existing faintly, like ghosts. Even when the heart is still beating, the greatest legacy that a human leaves is not huge assets, or skyscrapers, but as beautiful memories and love sown into the hearts of those remaining. According to you, which thing is scarier? The physical pain when passing away, or the coldness when knowing that later there will be no one remembering one's existence anymore? We only truly die when no longer living in the memory of anyone, because immortality does not lie in the body, but lies in the remembrance. Final part. Living radiantly to never be forgotten. Closing the emotional journey through vibrant orange streets of Mexico, we suddenly realize that Dia de los Muertos is not merely a costume festival, or an occasion for dancing and playing beside cold graves. That is truly a powerful manifesto about life, a firm reminder that death is not an enemy to escape, but is a great teacher, teaching us to cherish every precious moment happening right now. Mexicans have taught the whole world a priceless lesson. Do not fear death. Fear a life never lived fully. Instead of worrying about the day one will depart, focus on what one will leave behind in the hearts of those remaining, whether that is happy smiles or just late regrets. We cannot choose where we are born or the day we die, but we completely have the right to choose the way we will live and the way we will be remembered. In the memories of loved ones, live radiantly and proudly, like marigold flowers stretching in the morning sun. Love passionately, like the way Mexicans prepare the Ofrenda feast, and face every difficulty of life with the proud smile of La Catrina, because finally, the greatest legacy of a human life does not lie in numbers, in bank accounts, but lies in beautiful stories, recollected by shimmering candlelight. Whenever November rushes back, time is finite, and every moment passing is a gift that cannot be regained. Therefore, do not let countdown clocks be meaningless, or let wonderful moments pass through the camera lens without being kept. Cherish the present, record beautiful memories, and live a life worth being told again. If the video today has touched the deepest layer in your soul and helped you change the perspective on life and death, do not hesitate to press subscribe channel, and turn on notifications immediately to join the community of people loving philosophy and human culture. Our journey has just begun, and there are countless other magical secrets waiting ahead. Share this video to all people whom you love, as a way to say to them that thank you for appearing in my life. Hello, and see you again in the next stories, where knowledge and emotion will continue guiding us to find the true meaning of life. Live so that your death becomes a beautiful nostalgia, not a liberation, for those remaining.